Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, looks like we're ready to go, though, so less on the banter, please, more on the action. So
Banter's good. Banter is good. We were actually watching Tasteless and Artosis do their thing in the back room there. It was quite amusing. The first 5 minutes was nothing but banter.
Indeed.
It's not bad.
Funny guys. They're
not
funny
bad.
guys.
Oh, yeah.
Next map here, chosen by merz, is Shakur's Plateau. More defensive map. I like this choice by him. We'll have to see how it does go down.
Yes, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen, on Shakur's Plateau. It's my pleasure to bring you Dignitas merz. He is in the blue trunks, and he is playing Terran in the northeast, currently training one game in his best-of-3 series versus his opponent, M+Adel Scott. He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Protoss to the northwest.
And I'm so bad at keeping up with the game, like trying to give my vision to the crowd, as you say.
Yeah, it's a very unusual situation.
You're announcing Adele Scott. I'm like looking in the trees and stuff. Like,
isn't that pretty? I would really like this laptop. This is a very nice laptop we have here. But yeah, the stream doesn't know about this, but the projector here is actually powered by Apollo's machine.
Yeah,
and
that's why
the stream is powered by
happens.
my machine.
Yeah.
So.
But like I was saying, this game is so very important for both of these players. Simply because they have Sase. I think both of these players are going to feel quite comfortable playing against Sortov.
Yeah.
Because Sortov is a little bit less unknown. He's very new to the scene, very young.
Yeah.
So they're going to feel quite, as veterans, Adele Scott and merz are going to feel comfortable there.
Yeah.
The question is, if they beat Sortov and they lose to Sase, the ending result of who comes second in the group will depend on who wins this series.
Yep.
So if they're going to settle for second place, they have to win this series.
Yep, and even though the second place it's not a massive kick in the teeth, but it is definitely a disadvantage. It is a fairly unusual setup. I like the fact that Dreamhack's shaking things up just a little bit with kind of like a double group stage.
Yeah,
I think double group stage is fantastic, and it gives all the players a chance to get some great games done.
I mean, if you were sitting here as one of these two players, and you knew if you lost this single game right now, you have to beat Sase. You have to beat Sase. Adele Scott is a little bit easier because it's PvP, but in merz's time, who's actually down 1-0, beating a player like Sase, you know, we've seen
who
Sase,
beat Slayer's Ryong convincingly only 2 days ago.
Exactly, made Ryong look like a silver league
He
player.
really did. I mean, it was that dominant.
And it's a tough feat for sure. So we do have this one barracks into command center coming up very, very shortly from merz here. He can decide to add on extra barracks if he does, but merz is a very, very solid Terran player. And he usually loses by small things, or he gets exploited for being too solid.
Yeah.
In the kind of the sense of the word is that 99% of the time, merz is going to throw down a command center now. So technically, you could throw down your Nexus and then double expand maybe.
Yeah.
And that's how you get exploited if you're too predictable, which merz is. It's always been his weakness, is he plays way, way too predictable. Meanwhile, over in Adele Scott's base, he's throwing a lot of chrono boost into the Nexus now, so he's definitely going to be expanding very, very shortly after this Stalker. And once again, we should be seeing that hidden little SUV poke out, go ahead and hide as the Stalker comes out, and then go scout.
Yep, that probe unfortunately will die. It's going to see the bunker, so that's it's not a complete confirmation that there's going to be expansion, but it's very, very likely that there will be. And Adel Scott will try to poke in with the Zealot. That won't really do too much, but he'll gain a little bit of map control. This sneaky little SCV, as you can see right there, is hiding down to the bottom of the map, and its purpose after this will be to go in and try and get that expansion timing information. And Apollo will be wearing his microphone on his face.
Do you know how difficult it is to cast and preview the screen? Look at that. You're looking at a cliff. I'm trying to blow my nose. I'm sorry. And we go back into Adele Scott's base, and there's that second gas again. On this map as well, Colossus play is very good as well.
Yeah.
Simply because of the narrow choke area that it is very defensive with as well at the same time. But Colossus rays are also very super strong here.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got Adel Scott with a minor supply block, not really a big deal, and going straight into one gate and robotics facility as well. Get that observer out nice and quick. Always good because, of course, he's in the close air positions here as well. He'll be able to hop over there without too much of a problem. And merz, very much one racks expand, and then usually he goes for this, which is 3 racks stim. And pretty much straight away.
And the SCV, once again, has found its way into the base and has seen the fast robotics facility as well. So once again, we can start to filter the tech path or chosen way from Adele Scott. Adele Scott doesn't necessarily have to go down Colossus. He can very easily get an observer out, and he could even use a warp prism right now. We've seen that very used a lot recently, especially with players like White Raw.
Yep.
Or he can go ahead and get Blink straight away, throw down a Twilight Council straight away, and play super greedy. but it wouldn't surprise me if it was just Colossus once again. We'll have to find out when he takes the 3rd and 4th gas. But meanwhile, in the base of merz has not gone double upgrade, so he has a lot more gas available to him this time around, so he can get that factory out a lot sooner. This time he could potentially squeeze 4 medivacs out instead of just 2, and then dying because he spent all his gas on upgrades.
Yeah, the Stalker is just limping away as quickly as he can, realizing this is a terrible idea, doesn't want to be there. That also gives map control back to merz. Holding the Zelnaga watchtowers on this map is absolutely crucial. If you've got a hold of those, there's no way you're not going to see an attack coming unless it's a drop.
And scan goes down from merz in the center of the base here. But he doesn't get that much scanning information, really. He doesn't know if a robotics base has been thrown down. He knows an Immortal's building for sure, but last game we had an Immortal building also. So a little bit confusing here. We haven't seen the 3rd and 4th gases taken yet either by Adel Scott. So I don't actually think we're going to see the Colossus, and there is the Warp Prism. So the Warp Prism's going to come out now, and he could do a couple of things with this Warp Prism. He can use it for a straight-out fight and warp stuff in, and there is the Twilight Council coming down as well. So we may be seeing Blink come out straight away, and we could see Blink play come in. This is very, very unique here from Adel Scott, and it's very difficult for merz to actually scout this. This is what merz complains about all the time is, how do I defend against all the unlimited builds you can throw at me? And he doesn't know really what to do.
That could be stressful, certainly. Adel Scott with a Blink combination and Warp Prism. I could see him perhaps using the Warp Prism to spot up there so that he can blink it and then maybe warp it around of Zealots, potentially. That's a possibility. We're about to find out, though. He's going to go in with an Immortal and 2 Zealots, and that's always fun. Immortal drops were very much something that you saw more in the beta than anything else, but adding an Immortal into the mix does make things very messy. It also means you've got a lot of damage that you can use against building. Like, notice how fast that supply depot goes down with the Immortal damage coming in there.
Exactly. 2 hit SCVs, it's like 6 hits to kill a supply depot, so very, very effective. Meanwhile, oh my god, Adel Scott is actually taking the 3rd base while harassing. Excellent play here.
I'm liking that an awful lot. merz, for the moment, is forced to stay in his base and is having to deal with the fact that he's going to get dropped by Warp Prisms, and it's going to be an absolute pain for him. He's going to have to run from his main to his natural in order to try and hold up against that, particularly bearing in mind the Immortal can do so much damage. And a very interesting decision here by Adel Scott, as opposed to going Blink or anything along those lines, he builds the Twilight Council to go straight into Templar Archives.
Yeah, he's playing incredibly greedy right now. Oh no, the Warp Prism!
Oh, the Warp Prism survives.
2 Zealots do sacrifice their lives for the Warp Prism.
Heroes they are.
But the way that Adel Scott is playing at another miss scan, trying to find out what the hell is going on here, miss scan again. Basically, Adel Scott is playing the greediest you've ever seen.
Yeah.
If merz just went up and attacked, GG, there and then. But he doesn't have map packs like I have. Simply because he's teching too much. There's too much teching going on. No upgrades. You know, we got 3 gateways coming down. And smartly, merz is actually going to push out here. And I'm looking at his vision. There's nothing really that's triggered this to actually move out here. And actually, he sees more gateways being added on, which could tell him that something has happened here. So he's actually going to poke around a little bit now. And this is a bit of an awkward timing here for Adel Scott, who actually immediately has to morph into Archons simply because he's not ready to fight right now. And unfortunately, merz is actually just going to go home. He is sending in a single Marino to the 3rd base. And as soon as he sees that 3rd base, he's going to say, FML.
Let him get a 3rd base. My god, I must drop. I must do some damage immediately in order to make that happen. He is heading back to the base perhaps to consolidate his forces so that he can sort out either some kind of Doom drop or something along those lines. And there's a Warp Prism right there, which is shut down very nicely by merz.
And I still don't know what he's going to do here. Despite going now with everything, he's given too much time away to Adel Scott, and Adel Scott's army is starting to catch up. He's got a lot more gateways on now. Adel Scott doesn't want to fight right now for sure. He wants to hold off, though he does have quite a decent sentry energy. But when merz's his re-engagements, oh no. Shut up, Sean.
It's looking really dodgy one way or the other. Now trying to hold off. He needs to look at the reinforcements there.
Yeah.
Adel Scott really smart to pull back. He could have been very easily baited into a trap there. merz would have been able to push forward with a large number of forces. What that does now give merz the opportunity to do is take some of that force, knowing his opponent's backed off, in order to try and drop and maybe add some pressure. I mean, merz does do multi-pronged attacks pretty well, but he's actually moving the majority of his forces back to the base while that drop goes on.
Well, merz is still behind. He needs to do something to catch up in this game, and this drop could be that thing.
Yeah.
The biggest problem is there are already so many High Templars out. If Adel Scott was to go soon, he could do a lot of damage. And here, this drop going to go in, unspotted, no defense on this 3rd base. I don't know, I'm actually having a look. Can he warp in units? He can warp in units right now to defend against this. But if you warp his units in the center of the map...
Yeah. If he does do a warp and it's not on that base and gets the warp into a cooldown, he'll be in serious trouble. The scan goes in, the warp, he comes in immediately. The problem is that those warpins are going to be killed before they're able to do anything. And a High Templar is entirely wasteful, aside from the fact they did manage to pick off a Medivac. So that does weaken it somewhat, but that's still a very powerful push. And Adel Scott's been forced to draw his army back, which is, let's be honest, the last thing he wanted to do, because he's now giving merz the chance to build up even more forces.
And I still don't think merz has done enough right now. I mean, he's doing a lot of damage, but he needs to do more than this. He can drop... Oh no, these Stalkers. Okay, they go the wrong way.
Oh, yeah, they're able to avoid that. He can drop in there. There's a single Stalker warped in to try and deal with that. That's not enough damage, really, to stop the drop, but Adel Scott is very, very close already, so it doesn't really matter. This is actually this is not really usual for Adel Scott. He's actually got 2 gateways that are not changed to warp gates in his main.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake there. What merz needs to do now is to basically expand. If he expands while pushing at the same time, he has 3 ghosts. He has a lot of EMPs, 3 EMPs there. If he can hit every single EMP well, he can actually fight this army. He's better upgraded. He's approaching 2-1, only about 60 seconds away now. So if he hits that, that would be excellent for his game. The biggest problem is there's Colossus on the way now, finally coming into the game. And that is something merz is not prepared to fight.
No, he does not have any means whatsoever in order to stop that. He's going Ghost, which obviously was great against the composition that he's up against.
Yeah.
It is not great when there's Colossus support in the back, and the tech switch over there is going to catch him completely off guard. And still, he has to deal with the fact that there are 4 full High Templar ready to go, and this push is potentially going to get caught in a massive storm. Once again, it then comes down to EMPs and snipes versus feedbacks and storms.
And we just saw an excellent scan go down from merz, actually. Sees Colossus on the natural, and he's already started to produce the second star pool, which is needed. Vikings are on the way, which is needed. He just needs to get a hold of this 3rd base and gases. It's very, very hard to keep up ghost production, upgrades, and Vikings with a second starport without this gas. So he needs to go into the gas very, very shortly now. And very good position in the center of the map as well. Adel Scott, though, is taking a cheeky expansion, though, at this 4th base.
Yes, he is, and he'll be able to shut down merz's drop, actually, before it even comes in. Some damage done, a few Stalkers lost here and there, but the Medivac destroyed, and it'll cause damage to merz's army as well. And merz is slightly ahead still in terms of army supply.
Yeah.
Adel Scott's, being very, very greedy. He's tech switched a lot, so he's invested a lot of money simply into actually building those structures as opposed to building units. But that's still a scary army. Any army with Colossus and High Templar in it is not something you want to meet down a dark alley.
And the biggest problem for Adel Scott right now is he's falling behind in upgrades. He's only just now researching +2 attack. He doesn't have a second forge, so he needs one very shortly here. merz is already working on +3. He's about to be at 2-2 as well, and he will not let this 4th base go up. He should be looking to fight. The biggest problem is his Viking count is very low. It's still at 3, about to be 6. And let's have a look at the Colossus count. Currently at 2. So about to be 3 is 1 pop. So 6 Vikings still not enough to do damage fast enough before he's fighting. Though, at the same time, he has to balance that up with, I can't leave this guy manning on 4 bases.
No, it's absolutely inconceivable to allow that to happen, because that just means that you can reinforce, you can up your gateway count to ludicrous levels, you can add on maybe a second robo, you can reinforce and warp in immediately, whereas merz cannot do anything like that, so he has to go. Now that is a mistake right there, potentially by Adel Scott, leaving a lot of zealots there, but this is oh, Storm's coming down, he needs to back away immediately, a lot of High Templar, EMP's going off all the way over to the side there, immediately trying to morph in some Archons. merz takes a lot of punishment in that engagement, but Adel Scott actually lost way more in terms of supply.
And he forgot about all the High Templar at the back.
Yeah.
There was so many High Templars, so many more Storms available, and merz comes off the winner. Upgrades obviously played a huge factor in that fight, but more importantly, he forgot about half his army at the back. He could have stormed so much more. So unfortunately for Adel Scott, that was really bad. What merz needs to do now, heal up, continue with upgrades, add more ghosts into the mix, and merz is very smart. He updates the metagame daily, just like every other pro gamer. And so we're actually seeing now ghosts coming into the mix.
Yeah.
As long as you have a critical amount of Vikings where Colossus don't matter anymore, ghosts can basically win the game.
Yeah, they really can, and it's not just down to EMPs. It used to just be, put a few ghosts in your army against Protoss in order to EMP shield. That's great. That's not the case anymore. EMPs matter, but right now it's more down to, well, you're seeing big Zealot compositions in the late game for Protoss versus Terran. So you get a lot of Ghosts, and you actually snipe. You snipe Zealots, you snipe High Templar. Zealots die so fast to mass Ghost, and even then when the snipes run out, you're still hitting like a truck with Ghosts because of the upgraded damage they do against Light.
And +3 is about to finish in 20 seconds time. Merz should really wait for that Great Storm on the Vikings, though.
Yeah, some damage done. That didn't bring them out of the air, but it's good to try and reduce the health. A second storm and a third, and Merz easily able to get out of there without losing too many Vikings. Of course, the more he loses, the worse this is going to be in order to take down those Colossus. Merz with his mass ball in the center, but unfortunately, this base is so well fortified, he can't strike it.
Merz's production, look at that. There are so many barracks added on. That's always his strength. If he can survive early mid, very similar to the same game style we see from Idra. If he can survive early and mid, his late game is very, very good. He's always a macro Terran. And actually, big storm on these Vikings. Let's be so careful with that. I mean, this very ghost-heavy mix relies on Vikings staying alive, so super careful about that.
Yeah, I like the fact that Alscott is wearing the Vikings down. He's also forcing the Vikings to go home and repair, which means that they can't harass his Colossus. He saw one go in there, but a couple of Vikings were taken out the air in trade. So he can add more Colossus on now because he knows the Viking count is lower and, of course, can't really contribute to the fight.
And another scan goes down by Merz on this fourth base here and sees a lot of the army composition. The thing is, he can't engage in a kind of efficient area because of the cliffs. If he goes through any of these areas, it's very tight, and Colossus will maximize their damage output. Realistically, Merz should be actually sprinting towards the south side rather than trying to engage into this tight and fortified area with cannons and so on. And I am surprised why he's still idling in the center of the map so much.
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, he's been pretty much maxed this entire time. He's researching Neo Steel Frame. I understand what that means. Neo Steel Frame is effectively useless, and no one's seen any point in that upgrade even existing.
That like fortifies the bunkers, or makes them.
It makes them bigger.
Slots.
It makes them larger. It doesn't even actually add any HP. It makes the bunkers bigger, which
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, which it's why it's not really used all that much because there's not really a point. He's doing it anyway. I don't know if it's a mistake. He's building armor is fine at this stage, but I don't know. I think
money, so why not?
Yeah, exactly. He's spending money, but again, he's at 200 and he's not doing anything with his 200 army.
And he's basically right now just trying to look for a good engagement. Storms, Colossus. He keeps losing Vikings though like this, and another big hit, the Vikings!
Oh, that's a really nice move right there. They couldn't move back through the storm, and that's reduced the Viking count significantly. Another Colossus taken down. There's a storm at the front right there, and now he runs right into a massive collection of storm, and big damage done on either side. Merz still coming out the winner in this engagement thus far, although the medevac energy is down to basically nothing. Now he needs to continue to push forward and bring down this Colossus, try and take these Stalkers down. Another storm comes down, mostly misses, takes down one Ghost by the looks of it. Both of these guys looking battered and bruised, but Merz has the production reinforced right here.
And look at this down here at this base here. 5 gateways unpowered or not even set up.
That is a massive error.
This base isn't set up. You know, Adel Scott's fallen behind in terms of macro production late game. I mean, at this kind of stage of the game, you literally have to be at like 18 gateways. You're fighting against a player who's building like 13 buy units all at once. So, and weird placement with these Colossus actually. Look at this. Top Colossus doing a bit of damage to the upgrades here.
Yeah, just going to try and snipe some stuff off. Unfortunately, there was actually nothing you can research in the engineering bit. He's researched everything that can be researched, which is extremely rare to see right there. The Colossus now kind of thrown away, and I have to wonder what the purpose of that was. What does he want to replace them with? He's continuing to build more Colossus, so he's not tech switching.
If you want to harass late game, don't use Colossus, by the way.
No.
You should be using just a bunch of Blink Stalkers.
Yeah.
That was really sloppy because you've just thrown away the the Colossus. And now the Viking lead is 8 versus 2 compared to 8 versus 4 if he didn't do that. And what did he do? Kill
an engineering bay that has nothing to research left on it. That's all he really, really did there. Colossus are terrible for that kind of thing. And obviously, a Blink Stalker could get away. A Colossus can't. There's no way for that to happen.
And good engagement once again with these Vikings, but has to be so careful not to get caught off guard here.
Merz is playing a lot tighter now, actually, and that really isn't happening for him. 5 more Ghosts being added to the composition, taking a total to 9. The Colossus count is only at 1, having had 1 sniped off. High Templar coming in, and I don't know what Alscot's really trying to do here, because he continues to build Colossus when he knows that his opponent has a significant lead in terms of Viking count.
And we have harassment at the north side once again, going for these engineering and armory, but this Colossus is, again, once again going to die. Doing a little bit more damage than previously, plus he gets free range onto the Viking, so that's actually not too bad for Adelscott this time around.
Yeah, he's traded one Colossus for, actually, oh wow, oh, merz loses all of the Vikings. That was definitely worth it. Oh, he's going to get the Medivacs as well. Oh no, that's disastrous right now. Oh, the perfect blink takes out another one. Now that was a worthwhile bit of Colossus harassment.
And he's stimming so much. I was going to say that all this baiting is always winning for Adelscott, because merz is baiting but stimming, going in, stimming, coming out, stimming. None of the Medivacs
health is
have
a
energy.
resource, yeah.
And his units are very low in health. So he's overly stimming a lot of the time. And Adelscott, his turtle-esque style of play right now is slowly winning him the game, because his army's becoming stronger and stronger and stronger as the game goes on. Though his upgrades are 2-2. I can't believe it's 2-2. It's 28 minutes into the game. That's a very, very low right
Protoss
now.
player, that's incredibly low. Protoss are very well known for double forge, fast upgrades all the way to 3, usually getting 3 before any other race. It's not happening for Adelscott, and upgrades for merz are great. I mean, they're looking absolutely fantastic. The problem is he needs to stop throwing away units and getting caught off guard consistently. Another bit of Blinkstalker harassment coming in from the top, as Adelscott is actually taking this top base as well. His macro right now is getting to absurd levels. Those Stalkers can easily get away. The more harassment he continues to do, the more minerals he banks up for mass warpins, and the more stimming keeps happening right here from merz.
And suicidal SCVs, goodbye SCVs.
Doesn't need him. Doesn't need him.
Well, these guys are made redundant, I suppose, in one way or another.
Not exactly much of a retirement package, is it? You get a gold watch and a photon cannon to the face.
And meanwhile, we actually see Stalker and Colossus once again at the south side here. And basically, the Colossus is doing a lot of damage because of its splash, but at the same time, we have merz with a huge engagement here.
Oh, it's massive. And the storm goes off on the side right there, trying to take out some of the ghosts. A smart bit of targeting.
Oh, snipes.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying about the snipes earlier. That's what ends up happening in the really late game right now against Protoss. And merz continues to get extremely aggressive. There's no medevac energy left, which is why I'm really worried for him right now. EMPs go down. Nicely done. All of the High Temple are losing their energy. It could have been really messy for merz if that hadn't happened. He takes out the top base with ease.
But at the same time, this one Colossus and 2 Stalkers doing a lot of damage on the south side. 4 Zealots coming to help out too. Planetary Fortress will help stabilize this area, but merz took a lot of damage through that. At the same time, he did wear the army down of Adelscott, but still, there's just too many Colossus, not enough Vikings right now.
Yeah, Adelscott's actually killed about 40 workers at this point. He's about to kill a few more. The Marauders coming in to try and clean this up, which they will be able to do. Their upgrade count is very high, and that Colossus is dead. I mean, there's no way it will actually live unless merz falls asleep at his keyboard. And merz has got this massive army, and he's not really able to do a lot with it. He takes out the top base that we saw earlier, and that really isn't all that important for Adelscott. He's got this base here. He's going to cannon the crap out of that one.
Why doesn't he get upgrades? He's stuck at 2-2. He's on 1
It is kind of
forge.
weird, isn't it? Look at the amount of money he's got as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's no reason to be on 2-2 right now. No reason whatsoever. And that could potentially lose in the game. And it will draw the series up. But meanwhile, it's all about these engagements. I cannot stress that enough. Ghosts are going in with sick EMPs to a clumped up Protoss army. But still, he still has the Colossus to fight with. 4 Colossus. Is there enough Vikings?
Yeah, the Archons would be in a bit of trouble if they were actually being attacked by anything. They lost their shields completely, so the EMPs don't really do a huge amount. That area is well fortified. The problem is now he's going to run into a wall of cannons, regardless of where he goes. That's going to slow him down a little bit. We've got yet more harassment. I'm starting to like this. The first one was kind of terrible. This, on the other hand, it seems to work rather well. Go with Colossus and Blink Stalkers, and you know you're going to be able to get some Vikings as well as do some damage.
Why does merz keep trying to go through these sides? He should just go through the middle. It would be the best destination for his army. And, oh my god, I don't think this is good for merz.
Oh, that could potentially be terrible. The EMPs do go down. The High Temple Alphas are actually nowhere to be seen, and merz thrown back simply by Colossus firepower. They've got too much range on them. The Viking count is not really high enough at this point. Blink Stalkers are going to grab a couple as well, which is never a good idea. And crashing down. Look at how badly injured that army is as it goes in for this engagement.
But the Colossus are finally down. That's what he's been waiting for all game long. And he can finally break through, not into cannons preferably, but he may just have too many units well upgraded, better than Adelscott.
Yeah, and that makes the difference, doesn't it? They've been 3-3 this entire time. You can stim the crap out of them. They're still going to hit like trucks. It doesn't matter if they're missing an arm. It doesn't matter if they're missing a leg. They're going to hit you regardless. And then he brings down that base to the south as well.
but he's running out of money slowly but surely. Adel Scott's harassment has been efficient throughout the game, the south side, the north side, and it's really hurt merz's economy. He's only at 40 SCVs. Granted, he threw a lot away, but still, it's not that good for late game. He's lost a lot of orbital commands at the south side as well. Well, actually just one, but you know, an orbital command is another good set of mules, and he's slowly healing his army back up, but his army is still at 200 supply. Merz is looking absolutely fantastic right now. Extremely Marauder heavy. We actually need to see more Immortals coming out if he wants to fight this.
Yeah, and that's not happening at the moment. Finally, we see +3 ground armor 34 minutes into the game. An absolutely absurd suggestion. The orbital command is going to fall right about now. Unfortunately, the medevacs try to help it and realize, oh wait, that's not going to work out, is it?
And I think the doom day is coming soon for Adel Scott. Despite coming up in decent supply now. He's got 5 Colossus, but the Viking count is it's at 6.
The
it's
medevac
not that
count,
good enough,
look at that.
Indeed, the Marauder count as well. The Marauders are literally going to be able to tank so much damage with +3 armor, and then be able to just eat away the Gateway army, and then just walk onto the Colossus. Despite not being enough Vikings, there's just not enough stuff in front of the Colossus to actually warrant this, but big warping coming in.
Yeah, he was going to go try and get an EMP right there. Unfortunately, Adel Scott was prepared for that. This army with that many medevacs is nigh on indestructible. It's very difficult to deal with, and those Stalkers need to not be where they are right now.
Big stim, though, for just killing a single
Very
Stalker.
true,
so.
yeah.
2 more starports are being thrown down, which is a little bit weird here. Unless he's going to like transition into Cloak Banshees, possibly.
Yeah, that's fairly
pretty
common.
smart to do right now.
Yep.
Especially against the lack of Stalkers and the weak Stalkers, too. And once again, great... Oh, merz decides to pause the game.
But
a
pause,
once again, I mean, exactly at that point on both screens, actually, so the stream and the crowd can see, is that this harassment been no end, and merz hasn't had an answer to it all game long. A lot of the time, he's actually chosen to try and fight straight up, rather than defend, and he's not hitting his right engagements correctly.
No, he's really, really not. He's going into areas where he's getting choked up, and he'll either be hit by Storms or he'll hit by Colossus, which is unpleasant one way or the other. He finally does have this big force that can come crashing down on Adel Scott, and Adel Scott wants to prevent him from doing that for as long as possible.
And he blinks up again. Fantastic move again. And he's really, really efficient with this, but merz's army in the center of the map, oh my god, that is so scary to look at. One slightly bad engagement from Adel Scott, it's over.
Yeah, it really, really is. Adel Scott's sort of dancing around him right now and trying just to get in a jab here and there. Merz is just standing stalwart in the center. Another orbital command is eliminated, and that was actually a mining base. It's not something that merz really wants to lose.
Just had an amazing move right there. He actually moved in with these dead health Marauders, went in, run into the cannons, and sniped 3 High Templar with decent amount of energy, and then run back. Very, very nice play there. But like you said, these Stalkers are just doing way too much damage. 30 SCVs down. Oh my god. He's only got 30 SCVs left. That's incredible.
55 workers killed in total. If we include maybe the 10 that went suicide earlier, that's still 46 killed by Adel Scott with consistent Blink Stalker harassment across the board. Now consider how much more damage they could have done if they were 3-3.
10 Vikings, 6 more about to come out. 16 Vikings with +2. Yes, no, +3 now.
Yep.
So we're at +3. And there's only 5 Colossus. They're literally going to one-shot every single Colossus.
Yep.
5 waves, 5 volleys, Colossus dead, and then you're going to walk into all these Marauders, all these Ghosts, and I still think that he's going to win this engagement. The one big slip-up he could do is if he got a humongous storm onto the Vikings, combined with the Archons as well. But I think the Vikings are going to win the game.
Yeah, the High Templar count is at 6. It's not as large as I would certainly like to see. We had that Nexus sniped off to the top there as well. And Adel Scott on, let's see, 1 mining base right there, second one to the bottom. Yeah, 2 mining bases. And once again, a massive harassment this time with a lot of Colossus. This is a really risky trade, honestly, because those Vikings are going to destroy this Colossus so fast.
Look at that. Bum, bum,
oh, dear God. Sure.
It's like you could play like the... Oh, my God, actually hold that thought, because they're about to get all storms. He's going to be so careful.
Oh, a nice little bit of interception work right there by Adel Scott. He's not able to kill the Vikings, but he does stop them from going after those Colossus for a while, giving the Colossus the chance to retreat.
Oh, Adel Scott is so smart. He's literally picking apart merz just so elegantly right now, so slowly, and it's dangerous. And once again, he loses Stalkers, but at this point of the game, when you've got 9,000 minerals and 3,000 gas bunked up, what the hell are Stalkers to you? They're actually free money.
Yeah, you don't care. If all you're doing is preventing your opponent from attacking all the time when he's got this big he's got a massive ball and chain, and more harassment down to the bottom. He's got this huge flail that is swinging around his head.
And Adel Scott's just going to go for it now. He's had enough. I mean, he just wants to go for the kill. And EMPs are coming off, snipes as well. Very nice play, but still, he has to fight the army before he takes this game.
Oh, nice feedback, and runs right into a storm as well. Absolutely fantastic engagement there by Adel Scott.
There's still 7 high tempo left, and he just lost so many ghosts. Granted, he still has 7 ghosts left. It's still going to be tough. It's all going to come down to who can land the EMP, who can hit the storm. Does he lose the Vikings straight away?
merz is supply blocked as well, and actually now has a smaller army as a direct result of that. Can't reinforce it. Colossus immediately eliminated.
2 sloppy storms as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, no, cannons.
We care not for your pitiful cannons.
But look at the weakness of that army right now from Adel Scott.
Oh, the
EMP!
EMP at the back takes 5 Templars worth of energy and prevents 2 Archons from warping in.
He's
absolutely
crucial.
2.
Oh my god, he's losing. So, the Vikings.
Oh, that's a really risky move right there by merz. The engagement with the Archons wasn't as good as it could have been. He draws it right into a trap. Nails 2 down as well. Really nice by merz. Now he's going to go for it. This could be an engagement that crushes Adel Scott. He's got to be extremely careful about the storms right there. Another Colossus will fall. The one in the back will go down as well. And then merz just needs to charge forward and deal with this.
He's done it. He's going to be able to go through now. He's killed all the Colossus. No more Colossus are in the production. Only Immortals. Immortals are not going to win in the fight. There are no high tempo. Well, 4 actually left on the map, but I think they're actually in defensive purposes right now. And it looks like finally but surely this game of chess may be over, but there's still a few pieces left on the board for Adel Scott.
Yes, and he's not giving up right now. The Archons, usually really great against this. No, not against that many Marauders with +3. These guys simply do not die. There are so many medevacs in the air. It is ridiculous. And those Templar warping in just simply for Archon merger. No catering ammo for you, I'm afraid. And the rest of that base will be annihilated. This is looking like merz is going to take this game after a 42-minute slugfest.
Wow, what a beautiful game of StarCraft 2 this was. Absolutely fantastic. Still Stalkers are harassing the back base of merz, just in the off chance that he can kill this army, but TotalBiscuit, please.
With what? Well, what is he going to kill him with? You know, maybe if he had a couple of nukes available, but he doesn't. There's nothing to stop this from wrecking everything. So finally, having wielded the flail and just wielded it around his head for the last 40 minutes, he brings it crashing down on the face of Adel Scott. And Adel Scott's supply count is falling rapidly. Production facilities destroyed left, right, and center. And you know what? If you've got 11,000 minerals, that's wonderful. But if you haven't got any gateways to produce anything with it, that's useless.
And even this counterattack gets immediately shut down on this side of the map, and everything's going to die here. And that was Adel Scott's last-ditch effort. He has no splash damage right now. No Colossus, no Storm. There is no way in God's earth can you beat this Crowned Army with that many medevacs without splash damage. And I can't believe this game has gone on for this long. What a fantastic game by both of these players. This is in truly high-level StarCraft 2.
Oh yeah, it's really, really great. We saw a lot of blows and counter blows. Adel Scott impressed me incredibly here, honestly, with an amazing amount of harassment. But that brute force army in the middle, there was no real answer to it. And merz did engage quite well there. And of course, his medevac count was as high as it needed to be. Another mining base will now go down. Adel Scott is looking in a bad way. And merz is so badly supply blocked at the moment and actually can't mine. I don't think he's got... Yeah, his income block's something like that. It's not exactly so great. The harassment continues. merz is going to have to actually chase down this force of Stalkers and do something before his entire economy. And of course, if he loses all of his buildings, he loses the game anyway.
Basically, merz, I was going to say my microphone was out of place, I'm sorry. merz only has this army. That is it. If this army somehow dies, game over. Because Stalkers are killing supply depots, he has 72 minerals in the bank. So what Adel Scott is banking on is not dying, right? So look at all these cannons in place. He's got so much money banked up. That's why he's still in the game. That's the reason why merz hasn't just, won the game already.
Yeah.
So this may be difficult for merz. He can't attack directly. I don't think he can. Maybe with all these Marauders he can. But at the same time, there's so many cannons. A couple of High Templar warped in for a couple of storms. And, Bob's your uncle. That army's going to melt down. But at the same time, these Marauders, I think, may just be too much.
I think so. He's going to have to throw away some units to make this happen. They are very resilient, but that is a huge number of cannons. Down comes the Marauder count. Medevacs all over the place, keeping this one alive. Those Stalkers continue harassment, but they don't really kill fast enough. Yeah. If Adel Scott has something to do significant damage here, it'd be okay. He's getting his Templar archives back up, realizing that Storm and Archons are required, but merz is not going to allow that to go up.
Yeah, merz just goes for it, realizing that I've killed all the tech. There is no splash damage behind the cannons. I don't even have to worry about that. And surely now, Adel Scott's last effort in this game is going to shut down. But the thing is, even if he started to kill every single production facilities, merz can very, very easily pick up a starport, put it in the corner of the map.
Fly in the corner, yeah,
and
exactly.
there's absolutely nothing that Adel Scott can do because he doesn't have any air of himself. His buildings, unfortunately, don't flow either.
Oh, look, a starport that's moving to the corner of the map. It's almost like
exactly.
he heard you.
So it's like in the top right here, as you can see, 2 starports. He knows that it's literally nothing you can do right now. He can't combat can't kill the Stargate, so it eventually will come down to merz just winning slowly but surely in this game.
Yeah, it will. And Adel Scott is at the point where he really just needs a GG, honestly, unless he could somehow... Well, that might work.
No, it's not going to work.
No, it's not.
No.
It's funny, but it's not going to work. Adel Scott decides to build approximately 13 photon cannons in his opponent's main, as you do, and the rest of the main is unfortunately flying away to another land.
Think of it this way. He builds 20 cannons, he maybe kills a single marauder.
Yeah.
There's a lot of marauders to go through. He's going to need a lot of cannons, so even though he's got 13 more in production, I don't think it's quite going to be enough. And
no.
merz smartly just hides everything in the corner, and eventually that's the last Nexus about to go down, and so he will be revealed very, very shortly here. And once he gets revealed, merz will just continue to steamroll through.
Yeah, there really isn't an awful lot left. There's a couple of buildings hit here and there, but, well, it's Cloud City, what can we say? And merz doesn't really care. He's just going to go into the corner because he knows he's got this game won, and Adel Scott is being a little stubborn, one might say.
He is, but I mean, at the end of the day, he can somehow, he still has money enough to build starports.
Yeah.
So if he did build a couple of void rays in this main base of his, he could actually win the game. So
if he comes back from this, it will be the silliest game of StarCraft we've seen for at least 4 days.
But the problem is, even though there's that many cannons, it doesn't matter. merz can just pick up and go in the base. Look, it's like, you know, this is why you can't forge fast expand against Terran. They just go in your base. So at the end of the day, this is a little bit difficult and awkward for Adel Scott. This is one of those times where it's like, oh yeah. I forgot you had medivacs. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He can still elevate in there and he can destroy these buildings. Admittedly, there are buildings here that he can't blow up. He's even building the Stargate right there. The cannon count is just absolutely ridiculous. Here we go. He's going to try and crash through this. Let's see if he's got enough marauders, or more to the point, if Adel Scott's got enough cannons. I'm thinking no.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's killing a couple of marauders here and there, but there's just way too many medivacs. They're basically keeping them all alive. He stims again. I haven't really seen that before in a professional game, where he's EMPing the cannons to get rid of the shield on the cannons, but surely merz is going to finally
That's the new metagame.
Put the stamp on this.
Yeah, I think that Adel Scott really now has to leave, but that really was all he had left, and that game was ridiculous. 51 minutes right there on the Shakuras Plateau. GG, ladies and gentlemen, and merz is back in the series.
Very, very good game.
Yeah, very,
very good game.
Ridiculous ending, but great game, honestly.
I guarantee merz is going to be like, F Protoss late game, what can you do? God. Because, I mean, he always says that.
Well, you could just go kill him. That's a good idea.
Yeah. But that's a really good game. And like I said, the importance of this match is, you know, crazy. It's so important because whoever loses has to beat Sase. I mean, unless Sase just drops the ball and loses every single game in his group, which is probably not going to happen because he's on really good form right now. This is a very, very important game for these guys.
Yeah, he's also not jet-lagged, which is kind of important. He's just come from the UK, so he just took a quick hop, plus 1 hour. He does not give a damn. He's fairly happy with that, and he's been playing so very well. I've been enjoying watching Sase through the past couple of tournaments that we've had the pleasure to cast his games.
Indeed, and will finally merz be able to break through on a international level? I guess you can call I-Series an international level because merz is from Sweden.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the skill caliber of that tournament,
it wasn't as high as this by any stretch.
It's Dreamhack
entirely
Winter,
different.
baby.
Entirely different. I mean, for instance, you have a think about, say, I-43, and like, who was of the caliber of Adel Scott at that time? I would have said maybe Bling, but not then. You know, Bling has got a lot better since, so there really wasn't all that many players. There was, of course, Fargo, who he faced in the finals, Star Eagle before that, but Adel Scott's playing a lot better than what we saw in Telford as well, so I'm looking forward to watching this last game. It's going to be absolutely fantastic by the looks of it.
Indeed, and Artos is trying to steal merz, apparently.
No.
So I'm like, shut up, Artosis. We got a third game to cast. You cannot have him.
You can't. He hasn't finished yet. Yeah. No, Artosis. No.
So very, very shortly we'll get invited into this next game. And I wonder how my throat's going to be throughout this. It's holding on.
You'll be all right,
I
man.
don't feel like it's dying.
Yeah. It might be deceptive. It's creeping up on you unnoticed, and then when it's ready, it will pounce.
My nose is like that.
Your nose pounces?
Well, yeah, because I talk so much, and all the gunk inside me builds up over time, and then I have to let it go. So right now, I'm at the stage where I want to blow my nose, but merz isn't quite ready in the game.
You must place
so I have to speak like DJ Wheat right now. Sick as troll.
If you've got a spread creep, you go over there, please.
I know. I'm like an overlord right now. I'm just like... Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, Artosis, his response to 51-minute game PVT on Shakuras was Jesus. Yep. That is kind of what we saw as well, honestly. That was insane. Really great play from both players. A thoroughly enjoyable match. It's like, there was the risk that matches that drag on for that long, nothing actually happens. There was barely a dull moment in that game.
Yeah.
Mostly thanks to Adel Scott.
It was good. It's a strategy game, and you could see the strategy develop through both players' eyes, which is what I personally really enjoyed about that match.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We're just waiting for, I imagine that Adel Scott and merz are going to want to watch that replay, which could take some time. Even at ×8 speed, you're looking at spending at least 8 or so minutes watching it. So we'll have to see. We're just going to wait and get the invite and go through to Game 3 of the series. And obviously the schedule is now overrunning quite significantly, so I'm hoping we should.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because
we're supposed to have Bishu versus Stefano coming up.
I wonder what's going on with that. Actually, best ask the admin.
Yeah, I assume Show versus Bishu has actually started, and they haven't waited for this point. Otherwise, that's kind of silly. And then we should be following up, in theory, with Bishu Stefano, which is a rematch from the IPL4 qualifier a few days ago, which was very close. That was actually 2-1. Bishu, one of the only players to take a game from Stefano.
Bishu should have won the series.
He actually should have, yeah. You were pointing that up at the time.
Yeah, he's very good right now. Bishu's been working hard on his game, so I'm excited to see him coming up next. And I'm actually just going to try and find if I can see Show or Bishu in the chat. I'm pretty sure they would have played. They're not. Yeah, they're already playing their game. So there was no way you could hold that on for an hour. Not only do you hold on both the players, but you hold on the entire of the tournament. So, and it actually looks like they haven't started. Maybe they would have just started now. So they actually haven't played the first game. So
yeah, that's rather unfortunate. Oh well, we'll continue to wait, and we should hopefully get an invite into the Adel Scott game quite soon.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I just said let's go, so...
Yeah, merz is ready. We're just waiting for Adel Scott. I think it's Adel Scott's map.
Yeah, he's just using the map, so...
Yeah.
Indeed. Oh, come on, guys. I want to blow my nose. Not on camera.
You want to switch to overlay so you can blow your nose?
No, because it's going to take a while.